2 of ownership with the 84,000 mile 0359 Cummins. And guys, I gotta say, this is my opinion. You guys let me know what you think. I know there's guys that crack on Dodge stuff if they're not a fan, or even guys that are a fan of, you know, the trucks with the Cummins engines in them. They still don't necessarily love the Dodge pickup that it comes with. But the thing is, I will say this. I believe that the 3rd gen 5.9s are like the best balance between a pre-emissions reliable truck and modern comfort. And although these trucks are not like, you know, air ride suspension or anything crazy, you know, like a 1500, so to speak, like with how soft those ride, they are not bad by any means. The seats aren't like, you know, anything fancy. I mean, they're a little bit stiff on the back, I think, but for the most part, the trucks are pretty well equipped and they ride pretty darn nice. The cabs are fairly quiet, unless you're running, I'm guessing, like a stack with massive mud tires. I mean, they're fairly quiet to drive. At least cruising 65, 70 miles an hour yesterday. I mean, it was comfortable to ride in. It wasn't too loud. The humming wasn't too annoying. But I mean, they're just comfortable and soft riding for the most part as a stock pickup, and they're reliable. And I just feel like they're the perfect balance between newer, but not too new, but still having a pre-emissions diesel in it. Maybe I'm the only one with that thought, but I just feel like the 3rd gen, at least at this current stage, fits right in there perfectly. Got some new wheels and tires for this beautiful 80,000 mile 3rd gen. You guys are probably gonna get sick of me saying 80,000 mile 3rd gen, so I'll just say this clean, or this 03, or I don't know, the 5.9. But anyways, guys, we are on our way back to the house. We're gonna be getting these wheels and tires thrown on this thing, and then once we get these thrown on, we're actually gonna be selling the set that's on it. I actually sent a picture to a guy that's already bought a bunch of wheels and tires off us before. You know who you are. And he said, yep, I'll take them. So, sorry guys, I thought they were gonna make it to Facebook Marketplace, but they did not. So here we are. I've got the Sun. I'm on baby duty right now. Here's the 3rd gen, the current setup. I don't know if these are, I thought maybe these are rock stars or XDs. I don't know if, I mean, I see an XD on there, obviously. I don't know what the difference is, but all I know is these are coming off right now because it's just not really the look we're going for on this thing. So I've got the jack ready to go to work right there. Got to pop the caps off and then jack it on up. We're going with some Karma off-road 20x12s and some Kenda RT tires. Now, I thought these tires were actually manufactured in the state of Ohio. I could be wrong. All I know is I put the same tire, just a smaller size, on my grandfather's Ram that I had gotten him several years back. And at the time, I was told Kenda tires are actually made here in the USA and actually in the state of Ohio. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, cool, let's run these. And people seem to like them. My grandfather's truck has about 40,000 miles on the set, and they still have probably 15-20% tread left on them. So I mean, I think these will be very, very adequate for the truck. So we're gonna get this thing jacked up, get the mud flaps taken off, is because this truck actually doesn't have any kind of suspension lift on it at all. No leveling kits, nothing. And I think this setup should still mostly clear if you're careful and you're not locking your wheel entirely all the time. You should be good, but we're gonna get this front end jacked up, pull off the wheel, pull off the mud flap, and then put these new ones on here on all 4 sides and get this thing stanced out and looking better. We do have a plan for all the lighting on the truck to make it all match in the mirrors. Just stay tuned, let's get these things swapped around. You're not gonna give me anything. Leave me hanging. Come on. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. It's kind of a forced high five. But anyways, we got the wheels swapped onto the truck and the mud flaps taken off. And let me explain something just a little bit here. So with this truck, like I already said in the previous video, we're gonna try to leave as much stock as we can in terms of the mechanics of the truck and the drivetrain, suspension, stuff like that. The reason for that is this is an 80,000 mile truck, and we have done a lot of trucks that have a lot of stuff done to them, like the white Sturgeon there that's got all kinds of crap done, making like 800 horsepower. And we have just as many guys, thank you, we have just as many guys who love that we do who love this. And I've always seen the comments, you know, don't mess with it, don't touch it, you know, like don't whatever. And we're gonna do this one like that. Since we just did a 5.9 that was built, we're gonna do a 5.9 that's mechanically stock for the most part and in excellent condition, and just do subtle improvements and upgrades to make the thing look and appear super stout and sporty. But that's to your benefit for the guys that like to be able to do something themselves. Okay, so this truck's going to come with $5,000 cash for you to do whatever couple of upgrades or things that you'd like to do to it. Or if you don't want to do anything to it, you've just got $5 grand to go with it. You guys are going to freaking love it. The giveaway for this goes live on August 31st. So it should be Friday today, but August 31st, this coming Tuesday, the giveaway for this truck will be live and for you to enter. And just keep in mind this, just let me get to it. I was almost there. The first less than a week, I think, is going to be your best entry period of the entire giveaway. We're going to do 25x for the first week, and then that will be the best deal of the entire giveaway, and then it will be gone after that first week. So just keep your alarms ready, and you're going to want to enter to win this thing first week. It'll look totally different by the time it goes live in just a few days here, but stay tuned. It's gonna be awesome. So of course this truck doesn't have any suspension changes, as I mentioned. So it's got no leveling kit, no lift kit, and you can see here the wheel well does still have a pretty good amount of what's so funny, bud? Anyways, the wheel well still does have quite a bit of room around it. And I got on Custom Offset's website as well, and I just checked out and just to see if there were any other guys that were running completely stock suspension on these and running, you know, a 12 wide wheel on a 33. And I'm not saying that's the most efficient way to run it, but there were lots and lots and lots of trucks that were running a 20x12 setup on stock suspension that said slight rubbing at full lock. So I thought, you know what, let's try it, let's do it. If it gets too obnoxious and I think it's going to be a problem for somebody, then I will of course have the front end leveled up. But I think for the most part it's gonna clear pretty darn well, as long as you're careful not literally locking the wheel doing U-turns and stuff. I think for the most part you should be totally fine. There's really no specific reason why I went with Karma Off-Road. I was actually gonna go with some Anthem wheels. The only thing was we were trying to get this giveaway started super fast, and I just didn't know if the Anthems were gonna make it in on time. But stay tuned, because in the next week or so we should be picking up, that's such a fake cry, you can do better, 1 or 2 different trucks, and they're both very similar but very different, you know, kind of like, you know, the built versus not built. Okay, so what I was saying is we're planning on picking up 2 different trucks here within the next week to 14 days, give or take, and we're super excited about it. And they're both trucks that are very similar, but they're very different, and I'll explain. Cab configuration is different, the bed length is different, the transmission in both these trucks are different. One's a built auto, one's a manual, but let's just say this, they're both cool, just in different ways, and I'm hoping I can snag both of these. I've got communication with both these guys, and neither of these trucks are on the market right now, so these are private deals. And I'm super stoked because I've got something planned coming up, and I think you guys are gonna freaking love it. But I'm actually gonna get in this thing right now and take it down the road, and I'm gonna do kind of a drive test. I've also got to go and grab some breakfast for me and the wife, because we currently have no groceries from doing so much driving the past week and not really being home. So let's do a little drive test here and see how this clears. I mean, everything on this truck is just so crisp. Like the wheel is still super tight. the blinkers and the lever for the blinkers and the shifter. I mean, everything's just so like snug still. It's like weird. And another thing to note is road noise. So we're going just about 50 right now. And for the most part, I really only hear the humming of the exhaust like I usually do. At least what I've heard from it the last couple days I've been able to drive it. But I mean, in terms of tire noise, these are really freaking quiet tires. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. I'm gonna get a couple of these turns on video here. This isn't like an aggressive turn, but I mean, normal driving circumstances turn. Obviously no rubbing. Like these trucks, for the most part, like I know guys that run 35 by 1250s on stock wheels on these third gens, and they clear totally fine. Now obviously it makes a difference when you stick your tires out like these, you know, with a -44 or -51 offset, and it's going to make a difference obviously because the width is what usually kills the most on the fenders once you go out, because this is only a 33-inch tall setup, but it's so wide, and that's usually what gets you is the width on everything, not necessarily the height as much, but the combination of both has got to be like the right balance. Otherwise you can chew your fenders up. Now this setup technically will rub if you lock it. It's going to rub on a leveling kit with a 33 by 1250 and a 20 by 12. It should pretty much 99% clear. For the most part, it totally clears. And so with no leveling kit at all, and just a stock suspension ride with 20 by 12s and 33 by 1250s, it still should mostly clear as long as you're not like locking your wheel. You know what I mean? Am I one of the only people that love the sound of a stock third gen? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the second gen swaps. I feel like it actually makes the truck a little bit quieter, not as like deep, a little bit, feels like it's a little more opened up. But like, I love the deep growl of the freaking third gen setup. And I know they say the third gen manifolds aren't as efficient, and if you're gonna modify your truck, it's gonna get a lot hotter, it's not gonna run as well, and I understand that, but it does sound so good, it really does. So if you're wondering, 20 by 12 stock suspension, 33 by 1250s, does it pass the everyday driving test? Absolutely, it passes totally fine. I mean, like I said, you gotta be like trying to do like U-turns in this thing or locking it dang near all the way for it to really grab and, you know, mess up a fender or something. Like just driving around, like pulling into a gas station parking lot, pulling up to McDonald's to run in and grab some breakfast because we have no groceries at the house right now, in and out of parking spots and stuff like that. I was able to do all that, and I wasn't doing like 3-point turns to try to get in or out of anywhere. I mean, it clears totally fine. Like I said, if you're not like locking it, it's fine. Like it clears totally fine. You can see this. At some point, it looks like somebody used to run a little bit of a wider setup than the Rockstars or XDs or whatever the heck was on it, because they did trim the valance just a little bit. Not the bumper itself, but the valance. They give it a little trim to try to help with a little bit of clearance. And I did take the ugly rock guards off, the mud flaps. They were just, you can see they have like a real faint line. If I got some cleaning stuff and I gave it a good scrub, that little line would come off, because the clear coat and everything's totally fine. But the reason I took them off, is it's going to help with clearance, because I know that at a full turn, it's going to be much more likely to rub with those stupid things sticking out to here, you know, and whatever else. But they just hold moisture, because you can see like wherever the screws were like touching, it's like kind of orange where the heads of the screws kind of rub the paint a little bit raw, and it just holds moisture. If you're going to drive this in the snow and salt, it's going to hold snow and salt and dirt and just whatever. It's going to just hold it in there. Or even if you're down south where the trucks don't rust, I mean, if you've got those rock guards on, or fender flares or mud flaps or whatever, and they're the big hard plastic ones like what this thing had, and they just hold sand, dirt, and water up behind there and it can't drain, it'll still rust the truck out, even though you don't have salt. I mean, water just sitting in there, that'll still eat it up too. So You know, you just gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys like the new wheel and tire setup on the truck with the stock suspension. I'm telling you, some guys aren't gonna like it. I already see the comments. Some guys are gonna be like, oh no, you gotta do a level, you gotta do suspension, you gotta, you know, whatever. I see the comments, I get it. Everybody's 50-50 though. There's guys that, I've literally had guys win trucks on wheels like this, and as soon as they get it home, they take them off and they put them on like 16x10s, or they put them on stocks, or they don't even want it done with any kind of suspension upgrades, or they don't even want the wheels and tires on it. There's different types of styles out there, and we're gonna try to do one that kind of is geared towards that audience, the guys and gals out there that like their trucks as stock as possible, maybe looking a little aggressive, but they don't want to sacrifice anything being outside of OEM or very close to OEM in terms of the mechanics of the truck and the ride quality of the truck and stuff like that. So, you know, you gotta give and take a little bit. Like this one, complete opposite of this truck, and we just gave you a shot at winning a completely built truck. So let's give you a shot at winning one that's, you know, tastefully modified, but seemingly mostly stock. And yes, there's still more changes coming to the truck in terms of cosmetic appearance, but you're gonna have to stay tuned, hit the notification bell, keep watching. By the way, the giveaway for this starts on Tuesday, August 31st, and don't miss out when it starts, because the best deal of the entire giveaway is for the first week only, and that deal that starts in the first week will not be back. So stay tuned for that, guys. Anyways, you guys rock. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.